should be good. Shouldn't be any problems. Today's a great day to draw today. I woke up today, so let's get to it. I think the music is too loud, but should be alright. Should be good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's get to it. All right, cool. The title of this stream is Repeated Action Consistently. This specifically is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, as far as getting better at drawing and better at painting more specifically. So here's this illustration I'm working on for the novel Mario Starfall. And it's taking me forever to get this done because basically I didn't do any proper planning like I wanted to. I should have started with some better thumbnail sketches to get a sketch that I wanted, because I'm having to do a lot of fixing and a lot of paint overs for this illustration, when I could have saved myself a lot more time if I just would have started by planning this out properly. And so, yeah, I'm just painting. But yeah, this is repeated action consistently. I'm practicing painting, learning how to paint, and here are some of the sketches I've done over the last week or two or so. And the problem though is I haven't been consistent every day, like doing a painting every day. I think most of these range from like 30 minutes to an hour of me painting, practicing the skill of painting, and just trying to figure out how to apply it to my own work, my own artwork, and my own illustrations. Especially for this piece here, I really want this to be the best illustration I've made in a long time. And so I really want to get better at painting. And this is the practice I've been doing to get better at painting. I did 3 today. Yeah, 3 right here today. And I actually do want to do a 4th one right now. Just a quick sketch. I've got some reference of this town here. Like European town in the hills that I want to paint, because I want to do the best I can to get as good as I can at painting. It's a skill I want to master, and so I just got to put in that time, that repeated action consistently, and apply it to everything that I do. So I'm going to start painting this, and probably only for about 10 minutes or so, because I want to really start working on this piece and figuring this out. Every time I look at it, I want to cry a little bit, because it's going to take me forever, and I should have planned it out a lot better so that I wasn't doing a lot of paint overs. Oops, knocking stuff over here. But yeah, I want to master painting. I want to get good at painting, and that's going to take repeated action consistently. And hopefully this inspires you to either draw along or paint with me. Trying to, what am I doing? Layers off. There we go. Cool. Yeah, I did these 3 paintings today. I feel like I got to catch up because I basically haven't painted any landscapes for like 9 days straight, basically. Partly because I've been working on this illustration, but that's still no excuse. I want to do at least like sketches and studies, just simple stuff like this, so I can understand color better, understand like just how to paint digitally, and that's only going to happen with repeated action consistently. So, yes, sir. Even with this live streaming stuff, repeated action consistently, you can apply it to whatever you want to do, whatever you want to get good at. For me, I want to get good at painting and figuring out how to apply painting knowledge to my illustrations. I'm not going to do anything like super fancy. I just want this to be a sketch, just to get in the habit of painting and drawing every day. Like I said, I went like 9 days without painting, so it is what it is. But yeah, I gotta stay consistent with this stuff. And basically, before the day ends, I basically want to do 9 of these like digital sketches, paintings, so that I'm not getting rusty, because I hate that feeling. I hate that feeling of getting rusty when I draw. That just means I haven't been drawing in a while. So drawing every day, figuring this stuff out. I'm just using this like flat brush to paint. And I've learned to go like from background to foreground, painting everything in the background, and then move forward to the midground. Especially for sketches and studies like this, I just want to use one layer. Make it super simple for me. The problem though with the drawing I'm working on is I'm using 1,000 layers because I didn't plan it out properly from the very beginning. It wasn't terrible, but should have spent a little bit more time planning it out, because I'll show you in a minute after this sketch. But I've made a lot of revisions to the current illustration as a whole, because it just felt so weird. It basically felt like how I didn't want it to feel. uh, but yeah, can't really be worried about detail in this sketch either, because it's a sketch. Just want to paint something that looks pretty good. Try and get a solid understanding of color, light and shadow, stuff like that when I'm painting. Especially because it's something quick. I just want to get my hand warmed up so I can start working on that Mario Starfall drawing, which is going to be fun. And I don't want to give up on the piece either. I started it, so I want to finish it. The hardest part about painting and just learning anything new is like the feeling of being bad at it. It's called the learning curve or something like that, but being bad at something that you want to be good at is like very frustrating. So I'm doing my best to overcome that, but with basically brute forcing my way through this painting stuff. Because I understand like light and shadow and how it goes around forms and stuff, but putting all that knowledge together into a painting, especially it's easy doing it digitally, but I want to learn how to paint like with oils on a canvas. And this is basically what it would look like if I was painting in real life on a canvas. It wouldn't look that great, but only way to get great is to keep practicing, keep doing it, and not giving up on it. One thing I learned too as well about painting is I don't have to necessarily paint exactly what I see. I can stylize and do whatever I want with it. It's more about like, what do I want to convey with the painting that I'm creating? What's the most important thing that I want to draw? And for this little sketch, it's probably this castle in the background. Maybe it's a church back here. This probably had the most detail in this sketch. Usually when I'm doing these studies, I go for about 30 minutes to an hour each, but I just haven't been doing it every day like I want to, so. Just blobs of color, basically. Figuring this stuff out. This has been benefiting me, though, with my own personal illustrations, like the one I'm about to start. Helped me understand how to paint backgrounds and environments a little bit better. Definitely want to take some classes on painting environments and landscapes and stuff, but for now, this will have to do. Just basically brute forcing my way through this process and learning as I go. Definitely want to take a class though, but now's not the time right now. I'm gonna figure it out as I do it and hope it works. But no, it's going pretty well. So far, I've done all of these, so far so good. Pretty cool. Yeah, so far so good. But I haven't been doing these every day, and that's what I need to be doing. You can see in the folders here, I labeled them by days. So this was day one. I started on April 20th, 2025, last month. And this is my first painting study where I actually told myself I would be doing it every day. And I started okay. Um, went 2 days and then stopped for some reason. Then I started over. I was like, okay, start over, do 3 studies, and I only did 2, which is all good. Started over. That was day 1, and these are day 2. Pretty cool. Like stuff like this, like nature and natural environments are so complicated. It feels like I don't know how to put all this stuff together, all the information together, and get something that looks like something like the image. I don't think this is the image I went off of for this one, but foliage and stuff like that is very hard for me to paint right now. But just got to keep going. I'm gonna figure it out as I do it. And I lost the image I was using for this. I don't know where that went. That's right here. Cool. Yep. So I'm just painting, painting, because I want to get better at it. And I'll probably stop the. How long have I been going with this? 15 minutes. Yeah, it's pretty. This is fine. I just want to start working on the actual drawing I'm streaming for, because this drawing, oh my goodness, it's gonna take me forever. This drawing is gonna take me forever for real. So that's a cool little sketch. But yeah, I'm gonna save this and move on to the drawing that's haunting my dreams right now. So this is the drawing I'm working on for my illustrated novel of Mario Starfall, and it's been a pain. Yeah, it's been a pain for real, because basically I've had to start over basically start over with the whole process and fix things and edit things so that they look right. This is how the illustration was looking before all of these edits. So let me see. Let me figure this out. I just got to turn off all these layers basically. Uh, yeah, turn off all these layers and you will see the craziness. So this is where the illustration started from. This was my original idea to have Omari overlooking the city that he is from, the place he was born in. But the problem with this is basically the composition. Everything is so cluttered and complicated that it just doesn't feel right. And so I needed to make something that was more open, that looked, it made it still look epic and grand, but I knew that this wasn't it. And so I needed to change something about it. So I just started over, like painting over the top of it. And I got something like this, which is cool. But at this angle, I don't think you would see the mountains in the background, depending on how big the mountains are, of course. But I don't need any mountains, so I just focus more on the tower and the floating islands above the city because it's not a fantasy landscape if there's no floating islands. But I got to focus on the details here when I needed to be more focused on the overall image. So as I was continuing to paint over, I noticed it just still felt complicated. Not complicated. It still felt, what's the word? Just like, dang it. Too complex. It felt too claustrophobic. That's the word. And the overall composition was off. And I'll show you what I mean. If I turn on the rule of thirds guide I have here, basically in this version of the illustration, everything is there's too many, it's basically the same amount of information in each quadrant of the uh, rule of thirds here. And so same amount of information here, here, and here. And so what I needed to do is increase the size of the foreground. I needed to get rid of this bridge here so that I could have more of a city view. And from there, that's what I am working on right now. So I just started painting over everything even more. And this is what I mean when I did a terrible job planning this illustration because whew, I got a lot of stuff to paint and it's going to take me forever. But that's why I'm live streaming so I can actually make progress with this and show you the progress. I'm not perfect and this is a learning process for me because I've never really done any illustrations like this. So this is exciting, but at the same time, a little bit overwhelming. But that's okay. I'm just gonna keep working on it, keep painting, and figure this thing out. So yeah, like I said, I needed to make some improvements to the character. I want him to be a little bit bigger inside the composition. So basically copied and pasted this whole folder and I made Omari bigger to make him look like he's supposed to, like the focal point of the illustration. And notice how he lines up with the rule of thirds as well, basically to that point. And then everything else is secondary. But I needed the character to stand out more and be the focal point. I don't feel like he was with this, the size he was at. Now he stands out more, and this is basically where I'm at with the illustration now. Made it a little bit bigger, but now I'm just going to start painting, and I'm going to start with the foreground again because I need to cover up all this stuff right here on the side. Where's it at? Oh, wait, I lost the layer. Okay. right here. Yep, cool. Cover that up. Start painting this stuff in. And all the bricks and stuff. But yeah, this is what I mean when painting is hard for me right now. I want to learn how to incorporate it into my style with like more of a line art style and just like challenge myself to do different rendering styles. And I'm just trying to figure out this whole process as I do it. So that's why this live stream, this art stream, first one in a while, is called Repeated Action Consistently, because that's the only way to get better, for real. Be consistent. And because I want to get consistent at drawing, painting, more specifically painting, I want to challenge myself to create illustrations that are more more rendered and have this kind of style to it, which I like and I enjoy. And I really want to, render Omari more and finish his rendering, but I got to get the background to the same level of finish before I start rendering the character. So it is what it is. I made some mistakes, but that just shows you why it's so important to do thumbnail drawing in the very beginning. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then I can use my reference as well, peer reference, to help me figure this out. I'm basically looking for like shrubbery plants and stuff. This stuff is very unorganized. It is, but it's not. For what I need right now, it's very unorganized. All these pictures of leaves, and none of them are helping me right now. That is crazy. This one's kind of good. Just want to get like the shape of some leaves. Figure this out. Yeah, overall, I like that way better now. Composition feels a lot better. I can actually tell that the focus is on the character. His environment is secondary. I might make towers uh, the tower a little bit smaller, but One thing I don't need to be doing is focusing on the details up here. That's another mistake I made. At first was focusing too much on the details instead of the entire composition itself. But now I am just basically fixing all my mistakes. Where are those? Oh, I can erase all this right here. Yes, sir. Cool. All right. Yeah, overall, the composition is a lot better now from the start. Now it's just the hardest part for me is just rendering all this, trying to figure out how to paint all this because painting is not my strong suit. But so far, I think it's looking good. It's looking pretty good so far. Put some more flowers in here. This reference picture is actually pretty good because exactly what I need right now. Oh, and then this vine here as well. I can extend that over, but is that on the right layer? Nope. It is not. That's the great thing about digital art is that I have 1,000 layers to utilize. So even though I made 1,000 mistakes with this drawing so far, I could pretty much fix all of them. Just gonna take me a little bit more time to do that. I'm looking for this. Yeah, this one. That's the layer I'm looking for. It is fun though. Painting is fun. So that's why I'm sticking it out. This process overall is fun for me to do, even though I have like pretty much got to start over with this illustration. It's fun learning how to paint, and it's fun seeing everything to come together, even in the mistakes that I've been doing and have been, uh, even in the mistakes I've made and stuff. Fun. See the progress so far. More flowers in the shadows here, so they're gonna be a little bit darker. With some light hitting them here and there. Same thing with these ones, especially the ones in the shadow. I think the way I'm gonna work through this is I'm gonna work first of all little by little. So I'm not gonna worry about the entire image. I'm just gonna worry about it piece by piece. And so I'm just gonna focus on this foreground and move to the midground, which is gonna be the hardest part, I think, because of the amount of detail I want to include in the midground, which is fine. I want to be challenging myself with the artwork I'm creating, so it's all good. But yeah, just tackling this piece by piece, a little bit at a time, no matter how long it takes me to complete this drawing. Delete this layer, huh? Yeah, delete that layer, and then I think that's a good for the amount of flowers. Yeah. Start working on the pot down here. My layer setup is so unorganized, it's crazy. I need to move all the plants that are on this layer, except for this vine down here, because I want that to be above everything else. But I need to move all the flowers up here back onto the layer where the plants is at. So it should be this one, yeah. Yeah, that's a lot better. Yeah, even though I'm practicing painting, uh, even though I practice painting with like one layer, I just need to actually utilize layers when I'm actually drawing illustrations like these because they're so big. If I don't use the layers to my advantage, it's kind of like, what's the point of you in drawing digitally? I'm not utilizing the tools that are available. Especially as I learn how to paint, because the layers just make it so much easier for me to paint things in. Even though this is taking me quite a while to finish up, it's taking me a minute to finish this up. I don't want to give up on this piece. I want to figure it out as I work on it. These flowers though are going to be pretty cool because the reference image I have for these flowers is really cool as well. I don't know if these are real flowers, but I wouldn't be surprised if they are. I have been to a botanical gardens before, and there's some interesting flowers in the world. Pretty cool. So I wouldn't be surprised if these are real flowers, but these are what I want to implement in this artwork specifically for this one. This one's going to be like the biggest one in the piece. I just need to simplify it really. All I need to do. Simple shapes. One thing at a time. And I don't know if I should make these darker or not, but for now it's fine. I guess I will make it a little bit darker. I don't know. Maybe I should have some leaves coming off of this. Can't really see that either though. The area just becomes muddy. I gotta figure out what I'm doing with this pot back here. Maybe I shouldn't even have a pot back here. Maybe it's just foliage. I think that is the best case actually. The more I look at it, I think this would be a lot better if I just get rid of the pot. And it saves me stuff to render. I don't have to render it. So let's see what happens if I get rid of this pot and have a bunch of shrubbery. Oh yeah, that looks a lot better actually. I can just keep that area simple. Have these plants draped down off the wall. This. And do something like that. Yes, sir. Cool. Let me just add those bricks in. So I don't need to, yeah, I shouldn't have colored that. I shouldn't have painted that brick wall in. Should have just left it for that layer. Yeah, there we go. What is this? Where's that coming from? Oh, okay. That's got to paint over it. Cool. The darkest area of where the shadow is probably going to be under the character, like something like this. Then I can use this same dark black color to draw on these bricks or the stone wall he's sitting on top of, or it's behind him. Hard to see a little bit, but it looks pretty good. Most of this is going to be covered up by the plants, though, probably. But overall, it's looking pretty good so far. That's the wrong layer. Painting some of this grass that's like growing on top of the stone. The shadows too. A very desaturated green color. The only thing I don't really have to render at full detail is basically the background. Like the background itself will pretty much stay the same with some minor adjustments and a little bit more rendering, but I don't need to render it too much. Hardest thing I needed to render is the foreground here and then the midground with all the buildings, all the intricate detail. I'm gonna go back to the layer, the stone wall layer, add this deep shadow back in, this core shadow under the character. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Cool. All right. Then I can go back and add this shrubbery in. Foliage, shrubbery, whatever, however you say it. Leaves. Same thing, gonna be a shadow behind the character where the foliage is. It's a darker green color. All right. I like this like moss texture I'm adding to the stone. It's pretty cool. I add more shapes of leaves and stuff. Probably make it darker, but figure it out in a minute. I'm not working all over the place. Let me go back to this vine down here. I was rendering these flowers, huh? Probably will make it a darker color. That. And now time for the fun part. I get to actually make it look like this flower. Like these are types of flowers in real life that don't look real. I'm assuming that this is a real flower. Real life flower. Mhm. I don't know if I think if I just did something like this. Yeah, that's probably the solution. Something like that. Flowers draping toward the camera. Yep, cool. That looks good to me. All right. I just want to make sure that it's holding up. I think it is. Mm. Make a reference for like vines, but I don't think I necessarily have that right now. It's more general landscape images, foresty images and stuff. But from what I from what I can remember, this is what a vine looks like. So definitely have to do a little bit more research, but this is fine for now. Go back over here. The fun part about this plant is I don't think it emits light, but it's like that purple kind of glow it has in the veins of it. I don't know if that's what you call it, but that's really cool. It makes it look like it's glowing. Add that detail in there. Figure this out. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Nice. I like it. So far, so good. Another change I made to make this a little bit better was in the midground. I had all of these red tiled roofs with these buildings, but because the characters kind of basically color is red, makes him as a character stand out less. So just to adjust that, make it a little bit better, I made him a cooler color, which makes the character Omari attract a little bit more attention with his red color scheme. So I think that subtle little change makes this piece a lot better, where all the buildings are a cool color and the character's costume is a bright red color. Makes him pop out a lot more rather than having the red all throughout the piece. Just that subtle change is cool. And I probably don't need to render the foliage too much, but because I still want like a painterly feel. So the farther back it goes, I probably don't need to render too much. Like maybe this flower is rendered too much. But like the leaves up here, what layer am I on? Yeah, the leaves up here, I can do something like this. Add a little bit of line, little lines to it, line work to it. Make these leaves stand out a little bit better. A little more. Something like that. Where's my reference at? This one. It's crazy how many different types of leaves there are. And that's one thing I struggle with when I do paint, when I'm practicing how to paint. It's like, how do I render all of these different kinds of shrubbery? Like, obviously, I can't do a leaf by leaf. Even with this, when I think about it, I shouldn't try to draw every leaf. Just like the main ones. Just something like that is cool because it's like subtle, but it's also painterly. And it's not the focus of the illustration, so I don't need to spend my time like actually drawing line art for each individual leaf. So I just draw some that overlap each other. Like this. Something like that. Just draw some on the outside of the shape of the leaf maybe. And then leave the rest back here in a more painterly style. Because I have a lot to render in this drawing. And I gotta figure out what I want to render, what's the most important things to render and what's not. And when I think about it, the more I think about it, these leaves don't need to be that rendered to a high degree. I think you can tell that these are like some type of foliage, right? First, excuse me. First impression, looking at it, you can tell these are some type of foliage. So I do want to spend a little bit more time with the flowers back here. But again, I probably don't need to render them too much either when I think about it. The only reason I do want to render them is because they're in the foreground, so that's like the closest to the camera, so it makes sense to render them, get them to a more finished state, but at the same time, I'm like, let me just paint it. Just paint it, forget about it. Paint it and forget about it for real. That flower is terrible. Just erase the whole thing. Right over. Yeah, but this stuff back here, I do not need to render too much. I just need the shape of leaves to come out of it, if that makes sense. Am I drawing on the wrong layer? No, I'm not. What's going on? Am I tripping? Oh no, I just can't see it because my screen. And I wasn't painting the color that I was painting. But I think the most important part is just to imply the shape of leaves back here instead of trying to render them individually. I'm gonna try and do that to the best of my ability. Apply the shape of leaves. Yes, sir. It's coming together. I like it. I like it. And I'm probably going to move my way from right to left in the image as far as the rendering process goes. because there is a lot to render. But I'm glad I realized that. Like, I don't have to render every single leaf. And I can be abstract with it too. That's why having different kinds of brushes is cool too, because I'm sure I could create like a leaf textured brush I could use for stuff like this. That would make this a lot easier for me to get the effect I want, that painterly effect I want. I'm just using like this round brush I created, but if I wanted to, I could create some type of leaf brush. For now though, I'll just keep using this paintbrush I created. The more I look at it, the more I like this flower I grew. Looks pretty good. And so imagine that flower, this flower, way over here in the distance. It's gonna be the same thing as this over here. Same kind of flower as that. Would be pretty cool. And it also gives you a good, like, good scale in the image, I think, because if this flower is this tiny with a person next to it, imagine how big this is on top of like on the side of a building, right? Or a castle in this case. That thing's got to be gigantic, right? So let me finish these flowers up down here. I'm drawing in the wrong layer. Yes, sir. Cool. And what I've learned about painting is you add the local colors first, then the light and shadow, and render, render, render. Keep on rendering till you're finished. Don't stop rendering. But these are basically the local values without the light, the sunlight hitting them, or the ambient bounce light hitting any of them. Because I was thinking, because it's so dark, I could add like either a warm ambient light on this side, create a new layer. I can add a warm ambient light, bounce light, because the main light is the sun. So I don't know how that would work. The more I think about it, I could add a. What am I doing? Like a warm secondary light. I think I'm gonna save that for the background because if I put this on a soft light layer, does that work? Nope. Let's try to add glow. Oop. Oh my goodness. Just about deleted the whole piece. But I'll do something like this. What am I doing? And then yeah, because I basically want a warm light. This light of the sun coming through on this side. So it makes sense that if I have a warm light here in the background, I may have like a cool light coming from here, like that. That looks pretty good actually. Just might keep it like that. Like that's the plan, but that's for after the fact. The first thing I want to do is render everything to completion and then go in and add these like highlights and different uh, bounce lights and stuff because yo, relax. The dogs running in the background. Everything is all good. But yeah, that's how I envision the piece going. Have this warm sunlight, and then this blue bounce light in the foreground. That makes everything pop even more. But like I said, I want to just keep on rendering first and get everything to a finished stage where I'm rendering everything. So let me stop talking and keep on painting. uh, yeah. I'm making some good progress though. Yes, sir. Cool. I think the larger flower and the gigantic flower that I'm gonna draw in the background is gonna have like way more leaves, probably just the same amount as the reference I see here. While these smaller ones, I can just stay to like four petals. I think that works fine. Like that. Yep. And what's cool about rendering before I do the effects, like the lighting effects, like this, is I don't have to rely on the lighting effects to do bounce light. Let's say I want a blue bounce light to come in like this. I have this add glow layer on, but it still doesn't quite look right to me because I want a cooler light to be bouncing on in the shadows uh, of this vine here. And so what I'm going to do, because I know I want a blue light to be bouncing off of this vine, I'm going to desaturate it, change my hue towards like blue, do something like that, maybe even closer to blue, but something like that, where we have some bounce light coming from that light source that's coming. And so that way, when I get to the point where I add that in there, it's a little bit more effective. I think I can draw it a little bit better, but it's just something subtle like that. Something subtle like that inside the shadow areas where we see that bounce light come into effect. You can see it even more clearly here. Actually, it's a little hard to see. Maybe if I make it a little bit brighter, something like that. I don't want it too bright. This is the foreground. It's the doesn't need to be too important, but that looks pretty good. That way, when I get to that point, I'll have that bounce light in there on that vine. And I basically apply that to everything that I'm rendering. And so this vine over here is going to have a strong bounce light, secondary light of the sun coming in. So it's going to be a lot warmer. I'm going to change the hue to red. Paint that in. Something like this. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Cool. Just the areas where the sunlight hits these leaves and the vine and stuff. Maybe right there too. Yep, that was pretty good. Just got a lot more stuff to render. For real. Let's see. Maybe I just make this line a little bit bigger. Add more grass on the stone. That's why this is my most challenging piece that I've ever done. It's because of the amount of detail that I want to put into it. It is a little crazy. This wall is like looking weird right here. It needs to be going straight this way, but it's like goes this way and then it goes down that way. That's strange. So I need to do fix that. Yeah, it's just little stuff. A lot of little stuff. A lot of paying attention to the details. Overall, this is going pretty good. It's just taking me a while to complete this because I've never really done anything like this before as far as the rendering process goes. But just gotta keep moving forward and challenge myself to get better with every piece I do. As I said it earlier, but I don't want to give up on this piece. Even though I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning, I'm having to fix them now. I don't want to start over or give up on it. So I'm not going to do that. It also makes me like rethink this whole thing. Like, do I really want to render all my artwork like this? It takes a minute. It takes a while to get it how I want it to be. overall, I think the most important part is just to have fun when you're doing this stuff. Especially as I learn how to paint, how to draw, not draw, learn how to paint. Because the worst feeling about learning something new is like being bad at it at first. But that's why this is called repeated action consistently. It's the only way to get better. Doing something repeatedly and consistently. I think more leaves will make it look a little bit better down there. A little bit more detailed. And I was right too. Like I don't need to render every single leaf over here. I like what I was doing right here, especially like with this leaf here, just like painting in that shape to imply that it's leaves and there's that kind of texture there instead of kind of going and draw every single leaf like this. And this is fine for now, but I'm drawing the wrong layer, huh? Yeah. I drew it on the wrong layer, but it is what it is. Let's move it. Nice. Oh, that's one thing. That's what I wanted to do too. I almost forgot about these up here. This group of leaves like hanging off of the edge of the wall. Yeah, it doesn't need to be drooping down too much. I feel like I'm all over the place, and I said I was gonna do that. Yeah, let me come back down here, calm down, finish this flower. At least finish these two flowers and then move on. Yeah, that looks pretty good so far. Definitely gotta do a little bit more work on the flowers down here, but so far so good. Move on over here. So these up here, I don't need to draw them. I just need to paint the shape of the flowers. Yeah, something like that looks pretty good. I'm starting to realize I don't need to draw every little thing. I can just imply the shape of that object with the paint. Yep. I'll add that darker shadow. And probably one of these flowers as well in there. Like that. And then I can grab this brighter color for the light, or the rim light like this, over the top of the leaf. Something like that. Mm. All right. So I made some good progress on this drawing. Got a lot to work on, but so far so good. Just got to take it piece by piece, foreground, midground, and background, and I'll be done eventually. So thank you for joining me for this art stream. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.